Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are saying, whoa, is this the October surprise? Well, I mean, not really, because this is all Donald Trump's doing, right? This isn't like something that happened and it's never been dug up before. No one knows about it, right? And it just kind of drops and everyone's like, oh my God, he said on a hot mic with Billy Bush, he likes to grab women by the pussy and they just let him do it. And maybe we shouldn't elect the guy who says that kind of shit because it probably, I don't know, describes a certain personality trait that he's a vindictive, rapist, racist con man. I don't know. That kind of surprise. This is not that kind of surprise. Number one, Donald Trump is the mastermind of the coup attempt. That's kind of what the 165-page document kind of lays out. That's why he's being charged. Now, if you're wondering why all of a sudden this document has dropped, it's because of Donald Trump. It's because of Donald Trump. The reason why this document is in court and unsealed yesterday is because of Donald Trump. I mean, other than his crimes, he appealed to the Supreme Court. You remember this? Back in the first year, he's appealed to the Supreme Court. He's going to have complete immunity. Remember, he was going to get rid of the coup case and the documents case. It was all going to be good because he's immune. Presidents need immunity. Remember when he was in court before he was found guilty by a jury of his peers of 34 felonies for being a fucking con man in New York? Donald Trump kept saying right outside the courtroom, listen, presidents need immunity. They need immunity. And the reason why they need immunity is because I don't want to go to jail. I mean, that's basically what he was saying. But Donald Trump appealed to the Supreme Court for immunity, which John Roberts, now we know the reporting, John Roberts was pushing for that immunity, maybe because they kind of knew what was in this criminal dossier. This court filing of evidence that Jack Smith dropped yesterday. Well, Chutkin actually dropped it on us by unsealing it, but it's Jack Smith's 165-page MAGA criminal dossier full of evidence of why Donald Trump is the mastermind of the Cheeto Dust Kangaroo coup attempt on January 6th. But the reason why it happened yesterday is because Donald Trump appealed to the Supreme Court for immunity. Okay. That's the reason why it happened yesterday. So if you hear maggots out there like, they're just doing this as election interference, because that's what Donald Trump is saying. This is all election interference. You can't drop truth on me 30 days before the election. You ever heard of James Comey? Anywho. So Donald Trump appealed to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court, in some form or fashion, did give him partial immunity. Jack Smith was really, really, really worried about this immunity, and the reason why is because he was asking for the immunity in the January 6th specific case. But also what the Supreme Court did, which is kind of funny, they were like, hey, Judge Chutkin, you're going to have to determine what is personal and what is official business, and then you're going to have to divvy up the immunity based on what your findings are of what is personal and what is an official act of the President of the United States in this indictment. So what did Jack Smith do? Jack Smith adjourned a brand new grand jury, presented the evidence that he thought he could get an indictment from that grand jury without what could be construed as the official acts. They even lay it out in 165-page evidence. They're like, hey, this is evidence of this, but we're not going to use this in court because we believe it to be an official act, which he might have immunity on this official act. So Jack Smith gets what is called a superseding indictment, which means the old indictment is not any good. This is the new one. This is the valid indictment. And not only did Jack Smith get a superseding indictment, he got it from a very different, completely and totally decoupled from the first grand jury, a different grand jury. Now, Donald Trump is in quite the position because he asked the Supreme Court for this immunity. And the reason why is because Jack Smith had to present to Judge Chutkan why he believes that these things that he's indicting him for are personal, not official acts. They're personal acts as a candidate for president, not as the office holder of the president of the United States. And he laid it out in this 165-page filing for Chutkan's consideration of why this indictment is on personal acts and why she should proceed with this trial of Donald Trump's crimes because they are personal acts. That's the reason why we're here on October 3rd, talking about how yesterday a 165-page document lays out how Donald Trump committed treason, pretty much. I mean, maybe not by the legal standard, but I mean, come on. He knew he lost. He's a fucking punk-ass bitch, a whiny little baby. And he knew the only way that he could win is to lie. And to lobby, by the way. Because you can't just steal an election. Okay? Our election system is very complicated. Very. It's one of the protections that saved our democracy in 2020. I mean, think about it. If our election system wasn't so goddamn complicated, right? How easy would it have been for Donald Trump just to order? If the feds had control. I mean, he could have just ordered here and ordered there and he ordered this and ordered that and bam. Been easier than baking cookies to rig up an election. But he couldn't do that. He had to go state by state by state. He had to really work hard to try to steal the election, which provided Jack Smith a shit ton of evidence of the crime that they were committing. From what I understand, and I'm not a lawyer, you guys know that. Tony bashes lawyers. The ones that aren't that great. That's the ones I go after. I'm not a lawyer. But from what I understand, Donald Trump's team could have filed a stay against this. Why didn't they? Why didn't Donald Trump's legal team file a stay against this document? Could it be is that the lawyers informed Trump and his team that you're not going to win this stay? I mean, you might delay it a few days, but you're not going to win. You're cooked. So what did Trump do? Not file a stay. Wanted it out in October so that he could whine, bitch, and piss and moan about how the election's being stolen from me. The Democrats are stealing it. You're stealing the election. Stop the steal. Stop the count.
Did you read the indictment? It clearly says that I, as well as the other personalities, were victims.
Victims. I'm a victim. I'm a victim. Could it be that Donald Trump actually understands that we, liberals, people who are going to vote against him, know he's a fucking criminal? Know he's crooked. Just like he knows it. He knows he's not going to get us to vote for him, right? And he knows he's going to lose in Pennsylvania. He knows he's going to lose in North Carolina, in Arizona, and Nevada. Looks like he could even lose in places like Iowa or Florida. Who knows? She could run the tables on him because he's such a fucking crooked piece of shit. But he's not He's not doing this for us, right? We got to stop this nonsense. Donald Trump is pretending and lying for us. It's not pretending and lying for us. It's pretending and lying for the people who watch his show, the reality TV show of Trump. He has to get just enough people. It doesn't have to be a majority. It doesn't even have to be a lot of people. Just enough people in November when Kamala Harris runs the table on him to say, it's fraud. It's phony. They stole it from me. They're cheating. There's evidence. I'm going to take it to court. And there's election interference. And Jack Smith interfered in the election. They're weaponizing the DOJ against me. Maybe, just maybe, this October surprise, which is not a surprise at all. It is not a surprise that Donald Trump is a fucking criminal. Okay? That is not a surprise at this point. Maybe 20 years ago, people were like, whoa, what? What are you saying? That? No, not a surprise anymore. Maybe, just maybe, Donald Trump and his team are using what they are going to describe as election interference. Justice is how we would define it, but they're going to define it as election interference. Maybe, just maybe, they're pulling an old Roy Cohen, right? Oh, hell yeah. Roy Cohen taught Donald Trump this the best. You get all that shit out there. You say all the fucking bad shit you did. You just say it right out loud and tell them how you did it and when you did it, why you did it. And then what are they going to say? Then what are they going to do? And then all you do is you just lie. Lie, 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 lie about the evidence that's out there. You just let the cat out of the bag and then you kill the cat. I think that's the move here. I think that's the move. As liberals and people who are pro-democracy are getting all excited about this evidence. You think MAGA's going to see this as evidence? You think these paid Russian propagandists are going to fucking admit that this is evidence that Donald Trump 100% tried to overthrow our government and commit a coup? No. Fuck, they're being paid to say that Ukraine is the fucking enemy, that Ukraine's the bad guy in the Russia-Ukraine war. You think they're going to fucking admit that Donald Trump is a traitor? They're paid to support a traitor, folks. They have a high interest in supporting a traitor. They're not going to stop. He knows that. Just like he knew if he gathered up enough fucking brainless idiots, maggots, Cheeto-humping fuck nuggets on January 6th, turned them around, directed them towards the Capitol, and made sure to tweet out if Mike Pence didn't do what the fuck he told him to do, that there would be consequences and repercussions. And they stood on the Capitol steps beating police officers with fucking American flag poles and chanting, "Hang Mike Pence."
6 hostages.
He knew. He knows. But he's not pretending for us. He's pretending for the sheep. See? The Kool-Aid moment is approaching fast here. Just around the corner. Now, I'm not sure exactly what a Kool-Aid moment looks like, right? I have no idea. I have no clue.
Oh, yeah!
But there is one fast approaching. And as we get closer and closer to election, what I'm saying right here and telling you right now is that my theory is that Donald Trump did not stand in the way of this 165-page filing of evidence that Jack Smith is going to use to prosecute him when he loses this election. And the reason why is because Donald Trump can't stop it. He can't stop it. Even if he were to win the election, he's not sworn in until January. You don't think Jack Smith and Judge Chutkan are going to make sure to release this before then? Let that cat out of the bag? Folks, there is stuff in this. You know, I've been a proponent that you cannot 14 someone off a ballot, but you sure as hell can 14 someone out of office. That's what the 14th Amendment is actually for, is someone who is holding office to remove them because they're a fucking seditious piece of shit. And there is 100% allegations in this document that not only would justify the 14th Amendment being used on Donald Trump, but there's a whole laundry list of motherfuckers that this should be used on, the 14th Amendment, to make sure that if they ever hold office, they never fucking swear in. Donald Trump knows that. Donald Trump's lawyers know that. So why not just use it to their advantage, right? Why not just create and pretend that the Department of Justice is making this all up? It's all fake news, and he's the victim. Victimies. And why not paint it as election interference? You know, stoke fear and violence, right? Really, really dig into stochastic terrorism, that they're going to steal your country. I mean, shit, I can go to True Social and show you some of the shit that he's posting. Wild stuff. Wild fucking stuff. I I can't even believe that the Republican Party isn't rethinking their nominee at this point. Why they aren't convening, having a backroom meeting where they're going to exit him stage left and J.D. Vance and put someone else on the ticket as a write-in. That the Republican National Convention is saying nope. The committee is saying nope. See ya. Bye. In the trash. And just conceding that Kamala Harris is going to win this. But their party's already dead. So why? Their party's dead. It's broke. They have no future in America. Republicans. We only have one party in this country. That's the shittiest part. We are a two-party type system. It's the reason why we feel so fucking divided when we're not actually. Because anytime you try to have a discussion, anytime you try to have some sort of reasonable discourse about a policy or an issue, whatever it may be, whether it's immigration, whether it's school lunches, whether it's women's rights, whether it's civil rights, you know, access to the ballot box, access to healthcare, access to education, whatever issue and policy, climate change, whatever you're talking about. We can't have reasonable discourse. Because the Republican Party is not interested in democracy anymore. They want autocracy. They want a dictator. It's a tough reality. Because they've deluded millions of people in this country that that's the only way forward. It's totalitarianism, fascism. A Christo-fascist state of white Christian nationalists telling everyone what they can and can't do.
That would be awesome.
Starting a theocratic monarchy where there's a king. And the king will give us what we want. Otherwise, we'll chop off his fucking head. That's why they love Trump. That's why they love him. Is because they got so much dirt on him that in a sense, his lieutenants kind of control him. Where do you think all this fucking vile rhetoric comes from? You think he thinks that up? Fuck no. He ain't that goddamn smart. He ain't smart enough to know that he's fucked and he should be in Washington making a deal right now for his life. You think he's smart enough to come up with that shit? No. Nah. The Republican Party is dead. We just can't get most of the country to realize it. The media won't acknowledge it because they make money off Republican Democrat, man. They make so much money. Republicans said this, Democrats said that on the Hill today. The division between the parties. Tune in. Watch this ad while you tune in to our nonsense. It's going to be great. We're going to make a ton of money. So what are we supposed to do when we just come to the realization and the truth that we are dragging around a dead corpse called the Republican Party in our democracy that pretends that they're patriots, pretends that they love America, pretends that they somehow hold the Constitution close to their hearts right next to the Bible that they pretend to love so much. It's all pretending. And I guess we all, as humans, pretend a little bit, don't we? Right? No one's perfect. Kind of pretend a little bit. It's difficult not to sometimes, you know? Like if you're the parent of the little kid telling the stories, you don't want to call him a liar. You want to pretend, you know, that, oh yeah, that could be true. That's a great story. Well, we need to stop pretending. That's what we need to do. This country needs to stop pretending that we only have one party that is interested in democracy. We need to stop pretending that all this shit is normal. We need to stop pretending that when a former president of the United States tries to get his violent mob that he wanted them to riot and he directed them there to kill that same vice president. That's right. Donald Trump didn't give a fuck if Mike Pence died. Matter of fact, I'm believing that it is quite possible Jack Smith is letting Donald Trump know that Jack Smith knows that Donald Trump wanted them to kill Mike Pence if he didn't do what the fuck he wanted Mike Pence to do, which was make him dictator and king.
Running riot.
He wanted the violence. He wanted the blood. He wants it now. He's been wanting it for 4 years. He's been wanting to get back in office this whole time. If somehow he could just spark a civil war or a world war or a market crash, he's looked for any kind of chaos. Any kind of chaos. What's enough of the pretending? Or enough of the pretending that this is normal. It's not normal for Americans to be foaming at the mouth for a king, an authoritarian, a monarchy. And we're not going to sit around and let this paid propaganda lull us to sleep to lose our democracy. So get ready for November. Because I believe that there is going to be a sea of people who are willing to engage in democracy. People who have voted their entire lives, every single fucking election. People who only vote on presidential elections. People who have never voted in their lives before. Whether they're young, whether they're middle-aged or older. I think 2020 is not going to, that record in 2020, the amount of votes that we had in 2020 is not going to hold a candle to 2024. because we need to send that message that we're tired of fucking pretending. We're tired standing around pretending that Donald Trump and MAGA is somehow normal in this country. That the Republican Party isn't toast and dead. And we need a new discourse. We need a new way forward for our political conversations that we have in this country. And electing Kamala Harris, albeit she's the better candidate, but at this point, it really wouldn't matter if it was a ham fucking sandwich, a hot dog, or a piece of dog shit. Anything at this point is better for our democracy than the Trump crime syndicate that is described on the 165-page of Jack Smith's MAGA criminal dossier. The filing of evidence that, yeah, you goddamn right, there was a fucking Trump coup attempt, and he was the mastermind. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back right after this.
What the fuck is wrong with you people? It's a rhetorical question at best. We'll be right back on the Tony Michaels Podcast.
Letters from the Trucker Convoy.
Dearest Tammy, by the time we reached D.C., we was 50 strong in number. Some patriots ran out of gas along the way. We got plenty of Slim Jims and Skull. Near run out of Natty Light. Hope it don't rain tomorrow, so we can circle the city again. Yours, Bob.
Dear Bob, I'm fixing to send you some more of them Doritos you like, the red bag, not the lib-loving blue one. In your absence, I discovered a rash on my neck, and no, it ain't no hickey, and I ain't even seen my cousin Brody in ages. Stay strong. Wipe your ass at least once a day. Yours, Tammy.
Fuck 'em, fuck 'em, fuck 'em, fuck 'em, fuck 'em, fuck 'em. We're back to the Tony Michaels Podcast.
Welcome back to the show. Thanks around for sticking around through the break. Cliff Schechter on here. We're gonna get his 2 cents on the 165-page evidence document that dropped in federal court yesterday. Again, this is all Donald Trump's doing at this moment in this time as an October surprise. Again, this is not a surprise. Most of the stuff in this document we already knew. We just didn't have it confirmed through Jack Smith's court filing. We kind of gathered this up. For instance, the list. Let me show you this here. There is a redacted list because there's a shit ton. Let me show you this one document that I was reading from earlier in the broadcast. This is one of the pages. It's actually page 8 of 165. And the red circle here outlines the make them riot, do it. And P5, see the redacted name there, P5, P5, P5. And then, you can see that a lot of this stuff is heavily redacted. Now, I believe that Jack Smith is doing this, and the reason why is because internet sleuths will figure out who the fuck these people are. So instead of him just saying it out loud, he can give all the evidence. Everyone's going to know who it is, and then there's going to be reporting of who these people are. So it just keeps it in the conversation. So Jack Smith is intentionally redacting to get the media to pay attention, to get the American people to pay attention to his court filing, is my take. Because there's not just 5 persons, there's also some co-conspirators, meaning unindicted co-conspirators. This is my only beef with Jack Smith, kind of up to this point. It's my biggest beef, I should say, with Jack Smith. And the beef that I have mainly is that Jack Smith did not did not indict these co-conspirators on this case. I believe that Jack Smith has been thinking that he might save democracy. Well, the problem is that it's not Jack Smith's job to save democracy. That is not Jack Smith's job. Not as a prosecutor, not as special counsel, not as an individual citizen. It is all of us as a collective to preserve our republic by democratic means and constitutional means to vote and democratically select our representatives, whether it be local, state, or federal. Jack Smith cannot change that. That's not Jack Smith's job. Jack Smith's job as a prosecutor, and in this case specifically as special counsel, is to prosecute crimes. That's what he should be doing. That's what he should have been doing this entire time. But I believe Jack Smith thought somehow, some way that he could get this to be a thing before this election, and then it would destroy Donald Trump, and it would destroy his chances to be president of the United States, to be the candidate for president of the MAGA Republican Party. But Jack Smith, I believe, underestimated how far advanced this MAGA fascism is and how dead the Republican Party really truly was. He made a miscalculation, I think. I believe if Jack Smith would have not done that calculation, but done the calculation to prosecute this crime, he would have indicted all these co-conspirators. He would have done all this already. We would know these people's names on this list that is going around the internet of co-conspirators and people who are, part of this overarching coup attempt. And again, the names in this document where people are identifying who these people are, it's not gonna fucking surprise you. This is not an October surprise, meaning this is not surprising. It is not surprising that Cleta Mitchell is on this fucking document. It's not surprising that Steve Bannon is on this document. It's not surprising Jeffrey Clark, Kenneth Chesborough, Sidney Powell, Christina Bobb, Jason Miller, Michael Roman, Roger Stone, Mark fucking Meadows, Jenna Ellis, Jared Kushner, Ivanka Trump, Brian Kemp, Rusty Bowers. It is not surprising that any of these characters are on and inside this filing. It's not surprising to me. We know this story. I fucking produced all of the January 6th select hearings for Midas Touch. I did every fucking one of them. I was the live host. I went from front to back on that thing. I watched the entirety of that evidence being presented to the American